Today on the show, I have Mathias, who is the CEO of Passbase. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course. Yeah, why don't you tell the listeners and viewers what your background is, sort of what is Passbase, who are you, and just give us a quick rundown.
Sure. So Passbase is basically a developer tool that a lot of clients use to verify the true identity of their users. So we basically help them capture a short selfie video as well as a picture of their identity document, and then basically match that and look up if the identity document is basically genuine and if this is the true person who's trying to onboard to the platform of our clients. We work with a variety of clients from all kinds of interesting verticals. So we have a lot of crypto and fintech clients, of course, but also in the mobility space, marketplaces, basically anywhere where our clients need to really know the true identity. And this is usually out of anti-money laundering reasons or just to prevent fraud and bad actors from their platform. My own background is I'm originally from Germany, from the south there. At some point in time, relocated during my credit studies to the West Coast, spent some time in San Francisco working as a software engineer, actually also already in the identity and identity space. I worked on passive biometric authentication, so basically more kind of seamless knowing if this is the person who is currently accessing services in the background. And this was my whole wedge into the whole identity space. And then I started a company in early 2018 with two of my friends, actually one of my roommate and an old friend from Germany.
Awesome. So was it your roommate in San Francisco?
Yeah. So we originally met on Craigslist. So it was
really?
a very, very Silicon Valley love story,
Yeah.
I always describe. The funny thing is, I remember when I moved in, basically they interviewed, all the candidates who wanted to get a room in that Fletcher. And it was we bonded on two things. One was that we both were into skiing and snowboarding, or me and all these people. And the other one is everyone in that room has already failed one startup. So we had two points of contact already.
Awesome. What was he doing at the time?
So Dave was working for Google. I think by the time we both quit our jobs and focused on Passbase, he spent I think almost 4 years at Google and worked there for Google X in the innovation division. I think he did a lot of robotic stuff and also go-to-market stuff for a lot of their ventures.
Awesome. And did you say there's another co-founder too?
Yeah. So Felix and I, we're friends since I think 2011 when we started our undergrad in Munich. So we're studying together and we're really good friends. Felix was very, very into design and product. And I was more the technical part. So I could actually build what he kind of came up with. And so we were had really good skills that pair up.
Awesome. So how did the three of you decide this is what you wanted to do and take the leap? Where did the idea come from? How did it all start?
Yeah, so I mean, it's with a lot of startups. We started with something completely different, and then somehow pivot our way into that what we're doing now.
Yeah.
So we started with something completely unrelated in the blockchain and crypto space. So we kind of built something very akin to a Coinbase. So we built a cryptocurrency management trading app where you could trade on different cryptocurrency liquidity pools like your Coinbase, Bitfinex, Binance exchanges. And here we had the problem that a user had to sign up on all these crypto exchanges, and we had to pass on the identity information to all these underlying crypto liquidity pools. And we were this is stupid. Why is there no such thing a universal login that verifies your identity once, and then you can transfer this seamless in the background? And this was the whole starting point when we started to think around, hey, there's such a big problem still today online around identity, where we pass over the same type of information over and over again to the same or similar companies. Why can't they share data between of them? And And this is then when we like said, okay, let's tackle this problem. This is like a super, super huge problem that is still unsolved. And this is when we started in 2018 working on that.
Awesome. So how long was it, between the crypto stuff to this 2018?
Until we like pivoted? Yeah. So I think we worked like 6 to 9 months roughly on that. In I think in 2017 we started, and we had like 10,000 users on the cryptocurrency app, but so it was like not too large. So it was like very easy for us still to kind of like jump out and say we'll discontinue this and switch.
Yeah, so that was gonna be my question, was when did you, like, how did you feel about, oh, we've got to pivot this thing? Was it an easy transition? But it sounds like it was.
So okay. I think it's like for every founder, it's not easy to kind of like let a little child or like your little child die and then basically say like, okay, we won't do this anymore. But I think at that time we were like so excited about this whole identity space, and it was like even funny. We kind of like had a bunch of like investor calls like already scheduled, and we just like tossed the idea around, hey, this is what we're working on. And a lot of investors were like immediately, yeah, this is like a big problem. Can I invest? Like, what's the timeline of your raise? And like nobody asked that previously when we were working on the cryptocurrency app. So we were like, oh shit, like the investors like it. This seems to be a big problem. We had like clients that we had like early conversations. They were like, oh yeah, like if you have such a solution, I would immediately integrate. And this like really gave us confidence in that this is the right path.
Yeah, I mean that must have made it easier to know that investors were willing to give you money, and everyone else was saying, yeah, we're interested in this. Because I think that's what people often don't realize is, you know, when you have a good thing, you don't necessarily know when you have a bad thing. Like you can keep working on something, trucking along, and it sort of goes okay, and you don't really know, sort of none the wiser. But then when something hits,
you can die by 1,000 deaths almost. Like if you have like a mediocre idea and mediocre product, and it's okay, but like it will never take off. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's funny to see that that you did that. I saw that you and your co-founders were featured, was it in the Forbes 30 under 30 list? This
this year, or like 2020,
How was that?
A bit surprising, I have to say. So pleasantly surprising, but I guess we'll take it. So
yeah, why not?
But it's nice to be recognized. But you know, like in the end, in football, you say the truth is on the football field. Like all these awards don't help. It's like in the end, you need to build like an awesome experience and an awesome product. And I think this is what we really want to focus on. But I guess it's nice. You are recognized.
You can have it sitting in your trophy cabinet, and you can tell it to your grandchildren, but it doesn't really.
Yeah. Exactly.
So how long did it take you for building? So you had like the idea of doing this thing, and investors were saying we'd want to fund it. What was the process then? Did you get money and then start building it, or?
Yeah. So we started a little bit like in like late 2017, I said, when we like had this idea, and then we really doubled down in basically in early we started I think in 2018, and we started really doubling down in 2019. So we then like moved to the United Kingdom, like to London. Our pre-seed round was like led by Seedcamp and a few other angel investors. We raised I think like 600,000 in that pre-seed. And then we like really like locked ourselves up in the Google for Startup campus, and you probably know it from London. Had like crazy nights there, made like all-nighters. I remember us always, because you know, like the London subway mostly stops around like midnight, so we several times we ran in order to catch the last subway, and then basically like drove to our like apartment. We were like all again like living all together in an apartment in London, and kind of like built the first version of the product. I think within like 4 or 5 months. Got like at that time like 4 or 5 like early clients who were like even like willing to put money up front, because they had like such a big problem with that. And it's kind of then like led to that we raised our like larger seed round in summer 2019, where we like raised 3.6 million and really doubled down with that and increased the team, build out like the sales functionality, and now the company grew to basically over like 30 people with like all people involved here. So it's very nice to see.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of the like early customer stuff, and then let's talk about also like going quickly from you 3 to 30 people. So with the customers, you said you got some early clients who were happy to pay up front. Was that from your previous discussions that you had when you were thinking about the idea? Is that where some of them came from?
We actually the first clients that we identified were like somewhat in London, like in the whole startup scene. So they kind of like heard about us through like the seed camp investment, or like we met them on like founder meetups, and this is where we like found the first people. And they were like, most of them were like startups themselves, you know, like they were building like a marketplace for like something, or like they were like thinking about like, I don't know, financial services. Like other basically seed camp portfolio companies, they had also that issue. And this kind of like really helped shape the first version of our product, since we basically, what we always at Passbase are doing is, you know, like we assume we know nothing and all our clients tell us what to do. And I think this is the right way how to build B2B startups, that you just try to keep the iteration cycles very, very short, and then just like build what your clients tell you. And in the end, you build that product for them.
Yeah. So then how did you get a few more customers? How did like the sales start coming in and get bigger and bigger?
Yeah. So, I mean, we kind of like did always from the ground up, and this is mainly to the success of Felix, a fairly good job with the whole like UX and for like developer experience of our product. This is why our clients really liked using our product from like visual aspect, but also from, and this is like ties into like the conversation here around no code. We try to make it very, very simple to integrate our product. This is basically what we learned and have seen works really well with payments, and what Stripe did, that they just really took out the complexity of integrating like a payment solution in your mobile app or like your website. And we wanted to replicate that and just like dramatically reduce the pain and friction when it comes to like verifying the true identity of a user. And this was like one aspect that we really won the hearts of our clients and developers who integrated us, and some of them just like referred us to like their friends who they also knew that they have to integrate that. And at the same time, Felix and then like later Mahmoud that we hired, who like leads our growth, they really spend a lot of time in like, you know, search engine optimization, all the stuff that is out there. So we were like very visible in that industry, that when you search for like that solutions, that you found us. And this is very much organic growth so far. So we haven't done any outbound yet. So maybe something we should be starting now.
Awesome. Well, yeah, it's a nice problem to have, just everything being inbound, right?
Yeah, it's the easiest, because like these guys have problems and they're willing to buy.
No, exactly. Yeah, so talk about how has the transition been from going 3 guys in the same apartment, just like hacking away on stuff, to now, like you said, almost 30 people. How's that been for you? And I mean, it's been a short amount of time, right? So that's, I mean, MakerPad's similar. I started it 2019, January, took 8-9 months as a side project, and then hired, and now we're at like 11 people.
Nice.
But yeah, it's been strange for me, and I've gone through ups and downs of, wait, I'm really fucking this up, or hey, this is going really well, or back and forth. But it seems like that a lot. How do you find it?
I think also like pretty much at the size where you are now, between like, let's say 12 and 15 people, I kind of like really had almost like an identity crisis myself around like, what's my role? What am I doing in this company? Because up until like you're 10-ish, 12-ish, you know, you're like really, especially as a technical founder, you're like really involved into like still building the product yourself. So like you write code, you're like ship product and improve it. But at some point in time, you kind of like, I don't have time for that anymore. Like, you have to write that pull request, and you don't have the time. You don't have time to maintain the code and like improve it. And then you just like, what you do, like, okay, you hire people underneath you, and then you kind of like, you're in this transition suddenly where you delegate. You basically tell others what to do, and this is hard for like a lot of like technical founders. And if you then now like go one step further, like 70% of my day today is just managing others. Like, it's just like being in calls, managing others, delegating stuff, delegating decisions, and then like the other 30% is just like answering emails or like some like other communication stuff.
Yeah.
So it's very, very hard, and kind of like your type of work that you're doing changes. So, and this is like, it requires a whole other skill set, you know, like previously I had to be like technical excellent. Now I have to be like from communication and people and delegation. All these like soft skills become really important. So it's an exciting time, and I enjoy it very much. And yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. I guess you are in this process right now. And
yeah, so I think
ping me in like a year when you have like 30 people as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's like 3 or 4 months ago. Because I'm not a technical founder. I'm a non-technical founder, but I still build the products. We use NoCode. So I was building everything, and then until a few months ago, I didn't realize that I was like the problem. I was like the one in the way, and I wasn't doing other things. And I was like, wait a second, this is my fault. Like, I need to do something different here and stop being so involved in everything else that other people are doing and doing the product stuff myself. So then we've hired other people to look after certain areas of the business. But then it's like that whole maker to manager mindset. And then I think in the middle, like, I'm in this transition at the minute of, I still like doing product stuff and community stuff and everything else. I'm not quite like a manager, but I'm not quite a maker. It's like somewhere in the middle, the abyss somewhere that I'll crawl out of in one way, I'm sure.
You need to pick and choose. So either you hire then someone who does your CEO job, or you hire someone who does your maker job. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a learning curve. So let's switch into sort of the no-code side of things then. So you have your official Zapier integration going live shortly.
Yes.
Because people might be thinking,
we're in beta.
Awesome. Yeah. I think some people might be thinking, how does identity verification like sync up with NoCode? What's the angle there? And obviously Zapier is a big connector of all these tools. So when you talk us through some of the thinking of how you see the two pieces linked.
Yeah. So basically, if you think about identity proofing and identity verification, how it worked like a couple of years ago. You had like in the United Kingdom, you have Onfido, we have like in the US, we have Jumio, and like a lot of like these like incumbents, you know, they basically build their suite of solutions basically for enterprise clients. So, and when it was time for like a lot of like these enterprises and also like companies to like integrate their solution, it was like a very painful, long process to do so. So they had to hop on a call with like a salesperson, sign an NDA, get product demos. Then basically at some point in time they could touch the product, and like this was like a 1 to 2 week process really to like integrate. And this is also when we looked with our cryptocurrency app, by the way, at the market and looked like what providers are out there. And we just wanted to like radically change how you integrate that. And like, we looked a little bit like to Stripe, like you said, but we also wanted to like dramatically reduce the time that it takes that you like succeed in like running your first verification. And we even wanted to do this actually with no code. So that basically when you sign up on our platform, there's like already like an integration, and you get like your personal verification link that you can like theoretically send to all your clients and just tell them like, just run a verification here. This is like a dedicated hosted page for like Passbase or like for maybe like MakerPad. So and then like all these users can verify to you, and they all land in your dashboard. And this was like the first step into actually you don't need to integrate and touch any code at all anymore. You can just like run that verification on there. But at the same time, we were like, and also thinking, okay, what's the next step now that you basically have these verifications in your dashboard? What do you want to do with them? And we kind of like went into like the next abstraction layer. Okay, you know, like the most simple database that you have is just like a Google Sheet or like an Airtable. Yeah. So and this is when we were like we're really thinking and basically looked at like Zapier and like in all these automation tools, and they just make it so easy nowadays to kind of just bootstrap like an easy solution and glue them together. And this is when we decided to like really go and build like our own Zapier integration. And we have like a bunch of clients who now like run basically their super simple identity verification, and like it just like ends up in a Google Sheet, and that's good enough for them, you know?
Yeah. So what's that process? What's that workflow look like? They just they have like a sign up process and says, okay, great. Now you need to verify your identification. Click here, does that, and then it goes into their Google Sheet to say passed.
Exactly. So probably like for like one client, they're like a big like home. They're like in the real estate business in Berlin, and I think they facilitate that you can like see apartments without contacting the landlord, and they just like let you grab the key at the at like the coffee shop downstairs, and then go upstairs and look at the apartment. So the landlord doesn't have to be.
I think I've seen something. Yeah, I think I've seen something like that.
Yeah.
On that company.
Very relevant in COVID, not
in
a COVID world nowadays, because you don't want to interact with people that you don't have to.
Yeah.
So I think these guys, you know, like they just like send an email to this guy with their link and say like, here, please run a verification. This person runs a verification, the verification lands in their dashboard. That basically triggers the webhook through Zapier. Zapier basically connects into the Google Sheet. They see the result there. And if it's right, and this is their true identity, they send again the email out to the guy with the address. That's like no line of code touched. And it basically works very smooth, and everything is automated. So that's and keep in mind, like 5 to 10 years ago, you had to have like a compliance department, like a whole like engineering team that sets this up. But with like the tools of like Zapier and with our integration with Passbase Google Sheets, this is like literally like a product manager can just like build this together in like an afternoon.
That's awesome. What other use cases do you see this with?
Yeah.
What are other people doing with it as well?
Yeah, so I mean, we have, of course, like the whole spreadsheet and table world, where you have like your Google Sheet and your Airtable. Then, you know, we have with Zapier, you have direct integrations in a bunch of like databases. So for example, you can directly integrate within Firebase, MongoDB, or like a Postgres database. You can like send like automatic emails basically with like MailChimp, SendGrid, even like with Gmail. You can like directly integrate within like the CRM system. So once a user basically signs up on your platform, you can send them the link, and then you can again like put that back into their CRM, into Pipedrive, Salesforce, or HubSpot. So I think there are just like so many endless opportunities where you can like now tie identity verification to all of these services that I'm like very excited to see what our clients and the developers are coming up with.
Yeah. Have you seen anything surprising that you didn't think this would be used for? Like, is there someone just did something you're like, oh, I didn't think of that use case ever before. That's weird, but that's like a really good.
So I mean, but it's like in general, like for like what kind of clients come up and like land in our CRM. I mean, there are like a lot of like funny ones and that you haven't thought of, and like some of them that are personally very excited. So for example, like when the whole pandemic broke out, we had like a lot of like esports clients suddenly in our like CRM, and they did like online tournaments for prize money, and there was like, of course, then the anti-money laundering requirement. That was like very exciting to see, and I mean, as you imagine, you kind of like also deal a lot of with like age restricted content, and And like, first of all, like if you purchase, so like in California or in Canada, if you want to like purchase like cannabis online, you need to like verify your age. But it also like like a lot of like adult entertainment is like happening, like cam girl sites and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And that brought like a lot of internal conversations with also like our legal counsel. Like, like the whole camera side, this is like still fine because like you were just like verifying the age, but they're like, you have to like draw at someone like the line where, like, okay, this is like somewhat questionable if you can like service such clients. So
yeah.
If you would then like think one step further would be like, is it okay to have like escort services and all kinds of things?
Yeah. You have to have a stance or an opinion on those things then.
Yeah, and then we have like really good exchange actually with also like the legal counsel from, for example, we spoke with like the Dropbox and Stripe legal counsel, because they also have basically guidelines which clients they can serve and which not. So those were like more the surprising ones that I hadn't had on my radar when I started the business, but they of course they pop up after some time.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's funny. Awesome. Well, yeah. What else about like the NoCode space interests you? How come? I mean, you've come on as a partner, which we're really excited about. So, what would you like to see? What's interesting about NoCode for you and your team? What's like? Yeah. What's interesting?
So I think what really excites me about this whole NoCode movement is if you think that some stuff that we've seen in like a lot of like other like more technical areas was like really this like making everything way more simple to kind of like start your own company. And I think your own company is one of the best examples that you are like a non-technical founder, but you were able to build your first version of your product. And this is happening in like a lot of other industries similar to that, like in if you think like 10, 20 years ago, when like a lot of these Web 1.0 companies started, how hard it was to set up like a server environment, and you had to like have that server, I don't know, in your garage or like in your basement and run that, and then like how easy it is to like spin up on AWS a EC2 instance. This was like a 10x improvement from then until now. Like every high school student who's like a little bit technical can like spin an AWS instance. And if you think now like one step further, there you have like new companies and startups in that space, like Vercel.com, for example. They like literally just like you copy paste your GitHub URL in and press one button, deploy, and they automatically spin up that EC2 instance, manage everything for you. And this is just like this basically what it took from us from there until now is just like very, very exciting to see that in a lot of like tech related fields, and this is NoCode is basically really like a driver for that you can so easily build and start your own company. And this is like helping a lot of people just like work on their own dream and don't have to work in like a boring corporate job. Sorry, I don't want to insult anyone, but can like work on like a lot of like exciting side projects or whatever they wanted to do. And this is really, really cool, because I think through this movement we'll see a lot of like people going into and becoming entrepreneurs who were like previously were like saying, hey, I can't build this. I need like a tech guy and I don't know it myself. But with like Webflow, Zapier, Airtable, and all like these tools nowadays, everyone can be like a mini software engineer and build it without writing a single line of code. And that's very, very exciting to see. And this is also where we want to play a part, because like we want to like help clients and like developers or like non-developers and makers to just like very, very easily verify the identity of the users if there's like a compliance need.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting to see that like these things only get pushed further when other companies also embrace the fact that this is also happening. Like what I said before, where people may not think of identity verification and no code in the same sentence, but it's because you then embrace the fact of like incorporating no code and you already see the value of it, and you're technical, which is like a good thing to see that a technical person is really welcoming the no-code stuff. And then having this as there is an option.
Like we kind of like open ourselves up for like a whole new persona that we can like onboard on our platform. Because like previously we were like, when we started in like the first version of Passbase, we were like, of course, directed towards like the developers. So like developers can integrate it very easily. But now basically that it's literally like drag and drop style. You can like customize your whole verification flow in our online editor. And then you have like your verification link and it's deployed there. We suddenly can like start having conversations with product managers and people who were just like previously not able to integrate it. And this brings like a whole new champion to the table, because like suddenly previously like the developer had to make their case, and we're like fighting for us and say like, hey, you should use Passbase, it's so easier, the developer documentation is so much better. And now we can just like go to the product manager and say like, just try it out yourself, customize your own verification flow and make an MVP yourself. And suddenly like the developers and the product managers are rooting for it. So now we just have to convince the compliance managers. So let's speak about that.
The last hurdle. I think, that's awesome. Cool. I was thinking of something else then, and I completely forgot what it was. I just think this is really interesting. So something really different to what we usually see. We usually see like lots of tools around like how to build a website or web app or some sort of workflow, but this is like a really unique. Like,
I think like, so if you think like what got brought into this like whole no code movement at the beginning was, like these website builders. This is like also what really started. I remember like, I don't know, 5 to 10 years ago, correct me if I'm wrong, but when like the first like editors started and really took off, like, Shopify is basically like riding the wave, of course, nowadays on that. But I think that what we'll see, and we might be one of the first companies who basically come after is, after basically like this whole like space, there was within the last couple of years the something like like the API economy, the API everything, and this is where you have like your Twilios, your Stripes. Also, we are playing in that, and you can see also with Stripe that they're already thinking about that. If you sign up on Stripe, you have like your hosted environment where you have like your product and you can click yourself and all of these things. So I think that a lot of companies like us from this API economy or like from this API space will embrace this whole no code movement soon as well, because it just makes this whole space way more powerful. And then with tools, of course, via Zapier and other integrations, you can like literally integrate all of these providers with each other. So exactly. I expect a lot of other companies to follow soon.
Yeah, and that's actually the thing that I forgot that I was going to talk about was Stripe. So Stripe, like you said, you started off very developer focused, and like you're saying about Twilio, Stripe, etc. There's the same thing is true there. It used to be more, you got to be a developer to really use this, but now it's like click this button and generate an invoice, or click this thing and generate your verification path. Like there's lots of different things that are becoming like just the UI layer on top of these powerful products. I think, there's going to be a lot more, because like you said, it opens up more customers. It opens up a wider range of people who can access this instead of saying, I can't do that. It's just, can you click a button? Can you point this and link this to this in a drag and drop? Almost everyone can. And it then becomes like a no-brainer to see the benefit there.
Yeah, that's very exciting to see. As a technical person.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else you want to mention before we wrap up here?
I mean, anyone who listens, feel free to sign up on Passbase and try our product. I mean, I think we give 53 verifications, so that's more enough to like build your own MVP and try it out and get your hands dirty, basically. And I'm always happy to help anyone who then would love to have a deeper integration, because like sometimes I'm coding as well a little bit, but more like on like demo projects and stuff.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Awesome. Yeah, well, go to passbase.com to sign up there for checking this out. And yeah, we'll be really interested to see more things when the Zapier integration is live and we can show off some cool stuff. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for coming on.